We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We're deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. That sound means you're back on the air with the restaurant brokers, Eric and Robin Gagnon. And today we have been talking to those folks who have been on the hit TV show, Can You Beat Bobby Flay? Actually, it's Beat Bobby Flay. And they lived to tell the tale, Eric, and it was a great tale. I mean, I loved the excitement, the energy, what these guys shared with us. There was so much that we could take away from today's show. What stood out for you?
Man, you're right. The passion, it's so much energy, so much passion. And the preparation, I mean, they were talking about, mentally prepare themselves. It's just not about cooking. I mean, you may be going to school, you may get the degree, you may be in the kitchen self-taught for 25 years, but if you don't mentally prepare yourself, whether it's for Bobby Flay's to beat him, which in my mind I've been preparing for 20 years, so my mental preparation is very good to beat Bobby. But, it's be the same thing if you go every day to your restaurant for service. I mean, I think you should be mentally prepared. Your kitchen staff, everybody should have mental preparations. If you're on a restaurant right now, that's something you might want to talk about. Everybody shows up, great, but that's not the end of it. That's just the beginning of it. I mean, we've talked about, some of these guys were performers on stage. I mean, so there's a lot of parallel there we can draw a little bit later about, how this is a stage, and it is a stage. I mean, your restaurant is a place where people perform for the customers, whether it's your front of the house or back of the house. So I think that mental preparation to me resonated really, really well.
Well, and Adam said from the Barteca Restaurant Group, I thought it was interesting because he said chefs live for a certain kind of gratification, and that's absolutely true. You put a meal out there, you're putting everything on the plate, and you're getting that instantaneous feedback. It's not something where you're going to know in a few days how someone felt about it. That's getting carried to the table, and that feedback is right there and instantaneous, and that's tough. You got to be willing, able, and ready to take the good and the bad and roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly right, and you got to train and get ready. So you got to be mentally open to this, but you have to train. They said, hey, we work on our dish, several times over before we went there for a signature dish. So if you train and get ready, that means you have to train. Your staff has to train. So if you're going to introduce a new dish on a menu, make changes of the way the kitchen's going to run, you may want to train that before you get, into implementation, and make sure you are ready for this, that you just don't collapse the kitchen and come to the kitchen. If you're a chef and you just show up to your kitchen tomorrow, say, new plan, and it starts in 20 minutes, that could be a problem. That could be a problem that will resonate throughout the entire restaurant. So training and get ready for these type of events is important, as well as it is important to your restaurant.
Well, and I think it was intriguing. Okay, we had a guy on the show today who said he lived 12 years without a TV in his house, and now he works to get his team on these different reality TV shows because TV has really changed the face of what happens in a chef's career. All three of these guests today said that they got tremendous exposure. Their business went up 200%, 300%. So it's unfortunate, but I think it's part of today's reality for the chefs that you've got to be able to not only prepare a great meal, but you also need to kind of get that television exposure if at all possible.
Yeah, that PR is key, whether it's local. I mean, some of these chefs have been on local television. National television is obviously the holy grail. But, and we asked them today, how do you get in? How do you get in? And they say, hey, you just keep sending up entries, sign up, casting company calls. So maybe you call them if you don't know where to start. Maybe you're in a small market where people don't call, but I mean, be out there and try to do that. Maybe public relations firms can help some people. If you have the budget for it, you go and hire some PR firm and get some buzz. I mean, we talk about social medias and different shows. Maybe there's a way for you to get to resonate. YouTube is a great way to, people are scouring YouTube for everything nowadays, from, repairing your car, your watch, to, who's a celebrity chef out there wannabe. So do all these little things that we've talked in different shows as well, and maybe it will help you guys getting there. 300% increase in business. I mean, can you imagine that? How much money would you pay for that?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And, also just the experience. If you are a chef and you're passionate about what you do, to be able to go up against a legend like Bobby Flay, and someone who's really is the face of Food Network. He's been out there from day one on Food Network, and someone who, he puts himself out there every single time. When he still does Iron Chef, or he does beat Bobby Flay, I thought it was so fascinating. They said, listen, he's all in, but he's not afraid to lose. That is a great attitude to take into this industry. Put yourself out there. You don't be afraid to lose. Try something new. Give it a shot. And if it does fail, dust yourself off, get back out there graciously, and try it again.
Yeah, because so many of you go out there and try to pinch pennies and cut corners, do different things when things start getting slow. But that means you start having the fear of losing everything, and then that transpires usually in your restaurant. You talk about, striving for perfection. I mean, they talk about that today. You have, you're not going to just have a good enough day to beat Bobby Flay. But that's also transpiring in your restaurant. Strive for perfection every single time that you work, which is, if it's 7 days a week in your restaurant, 7 days a week, you have to strive for it. You may fall short some days. It's okay. But if you strive for it, it should be good enough. But you can't start with good enough. Then you go below that. We talk about elements of surprise. You got to be able to surprise. You don't beat Bobby Flay like they say, hey, he eats over here. We try to surprise him with a different dish. And we actually compete against what he loves to eat. Do you have an element of surprise in your restaurant for your customers and guests? That is a wow factor. I think that helps you winning, in competition. That's also helping you winning, repeat business and new customers, right?
People love to be surprised and delighted. And we've talked about that, like little gifts at the end of a meal, that is so much more than just that tiny little mint, bringing something over from the chef, just a small item to either start or finish or in between. Those kinds of items, it allows you to, one, get that connection with the client who's there in the restaurant, and it also allows you to try out something new, because if someone's not paying for anything, you give them a little extra treat and then get some feedback on it. Gives you the opportunity to kind of explore, surprise them, and actually get some great feedback before you go live. I mean, I love the thought that all three of these contestants said they came out guns blazing. I mean, they weren't going to be wallflowers. They were going to try to get the audience on their side. And I've worked and been in restaurants with chefs who had that sense of self, that sense of self-worth. They believe in what they do. They're passionate. They come out and they know what they're putting forward. You can taste it in the plate. It goes beyond just it. You can see it in the atmosphere. You can see it in the servers. You can see it in the sous chefs. Everybody rallies behind that chef who believes in himself and has that courage that comes out and says, yeah, I could take on Bobby Flay. I could take on this room. I could take on anything. And success begets success in the kitchen.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to think of yourself as a performer, whether you're front of the house, back of the house. I mean, that may be a question you ask people. Are you a performer? Because if you think of your restaurant as your stage, I mean, we talk about how the audience help them, getting more pumped up, more motivated to perform. Maybe if you're in the designing stage of your second location or your new restaurant, maybe an open kitchen will inspire and motivate your team to be able to perform better. I mean, we at We Sell Restaurant, I tell our team every day, when you walk through that door, this is showtime. Okay, we have to perform. Whatever it is happening in your personal life, this is time to take care of buyers, sellers, and everybody that contacts us, and at the best of our ability. And it helps inspiring everyone. If you perform, everybody perform at a high level, even the guy that is not up to it today, he will be picked up by this passion. So the inspiration that this brings to your restaurant should be something that carries you a long way and then takes, reach for higher level and continue to progress in your journey in this industry.
And if you're not passionate, if you don't have that wow factor, if you're not ready to go on stage and be that star, whether it's within your kitchen or within a TV show, then maybe you need to take a break, recharge, relax, and come back to it. That it is a high level of burnout in this industry, so take a moment, read a favorite book, get out on a beach, get your head straight, re-energize yourself, reinvigorate, and come back. That's
right.
always good advice. Hey, that's all the time we have for advice today. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon, the Restaurant Brokers. We are the industry leaders in restaurants for sale, franchise restaurant resales, and site location for the food service industry. We are franchising nationwide. You can find out more about our company online at WeSellRestaurants.com.